going on, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and we are here live in Las Vegas at the Thomas Mack Center, and it is a little over an hour, about an hour and 10 minutes before game time. Today's game, the UNM Lobos, 8-1, first place in the Mountain West, and UNLV Runnin Rebels, 5-3 in league play, and having a typical UNLV kind of season where they start league play 3-0, they answer 3-0 with two back-to-back 22-point losses, and they answer that by beating a ranked Utah State team and San Diego State at Viejas. And then they answer that by coming home and losing as a 9-point favorite at home to Wyoming. So UNLV is a team obviously capable again, as they often are. Their good is capable, and their bad is capable of losing on any given night as well. So it'll be interesting tonight. Obviously, the easy headline to watch is DJ Thomas versus Donovan Dent, the best point guard in the league versus the second best in Thomas. And I know Boise State likes to put Alvaro Cardenas in the conversation, and he's a good third point guard in my estimation, but DJ's better than him. So Didon Thomas is clearly the second best point guard, and then Donovan Dent's having a player of the year type season in the Mountain West. He is doing things nationally that aren't being done by anyone else. He is the only player in the league that's had 10 points and 4 assists in every game all season. He's averaging just a shade under 19 points, but 19 and 6, and he's also top 10 right now in the Mountain West in steals and blocks. And for a 6'2" point guard to be top 10 in blocks in the league it's just a testament to what he's doing this year, man. He's playing an all-around game, and he's leading the Lobos like some of the best Lobos have done in the Mountain West era. He is having one of those kind of years. So, interesting matchup today, obviously, with Didon Thomas. I do think the whole iron sharpens iron. When good players go against good players kind of thing is in play today. I think those two players can make each other really good and make each other better. I think Didon is a guy that has had some good games against the Lobos, clearly, and he is the reigning Mountain West Player of the Week. Now, he did that with a couple of big shots last week when they beat a ranked Utah State, and they beat San Diego State in Viejas Arena, where he hit a bunch of free throws down the stretch. I think he scored like 8 of his however many points in the final couple minutes. He certainly closed the door. But he also, it was one of the more pedestrian Mountain West Player of the Week kind of stat lines in that he shot under 30%. You don't see a Mountain West Player of the Week too often shoot under 30%. He averaged 13.5 points. That's pretty low for a Player of the Week, but nobody else had the week he had either. Like he was the deserved only one really in consideration for that. But I bring all that up to sort of point out he at times is effective even when his stats aren't there. He is still the straw that stirs the UNLV drink easily. They got some other pieces, but he is what makes them go. And when they're at their best, he is one of the best point guards out west. And it will be interesting to see him and Donovan Dent go at it today in Thomas Mack Center. As you can see, the press row is a little bit high. I am sitting next to Hunter Green and Rob Portnoy, who will be bringing you the call today, obviously. Nationally, not just nationally broadcast game, but a network broadcast game, and that's on Fox. That means you don't even have to have cable to have this game on, and these networks are the ones that usually get flipped on in hotel bars and airport bars and restaurants across the country. So a lot of eyeballs will be on the Lobo UNLV game, even if it isn't exactly a game that normally would be on the radar of a lot of people around the country. But that's because it's on Fox, not Fox Sports, not FS1. It is on Fox, the network Fox. So should be a well-viewed, highly viewed game. And the Lobos have had another one of these. They were on CBS a few weeks ago, beat San Diego State handily, really. It ended up being a 14-point win, but that's again, the Lobos have still kind of had this habit of building up 20-point leads and then letting the other team score the final 6. Or in the case of Colorado State, they scored the final 9 after UNM kind of shut it down and quit trying to score, frankly. They were up 17 at Colorado State with 1:37 to go and ended up only winning by 8. Same with the San Diego State game. They They were up 20 at one point, and it ended up being a 14-point game once they kind of shut down trying to score. San Diego State. I shouldn't say that against San Diego State because it was over like a 3-minute span, so it wasn't like they stopped trying to score, but they did have their deep bench in and gave up the final 6 points to San Diego State. Ended up being a 14-point win. But look, the Lobos at their best have been playing smothering defense. Their defense has been creating their fast break opportunities. They're not just live ball steals that lead to, they call them pick sixes. It's not just the live ball steals that have been doing that. The way they've been rebounding and blocking shots, setting up their fast break has been phenomenal. And certainly you can say it plays in the pit, and it does. They feed off that energy, but they've also had stretches of 21-0 on the road at Colorado State. They had a 17-1 on the road to start the second half in Wyoming. They've had these dominant stretches multiple times, while predominantly it's at the pit, and they're maybe more noticeable in the pit because the crowd's just going crazy when they do it. They have been able to do that on the road a little bit this year, and that's sort of the big question mark here, right? It's not just like they've struggled against UNLV. They haven't won since Paul Weir's first year in the Thomas and Mack against UNLV. That was 2018. Anthony Mathis in the final 10 seconds hit a three-pointer to basically seal the win for the Lobos then. And, it's been the last 6 times they've played UNLV in the Thomas and Mack, they've lost. The last 9 times they've played in Vegas against anyone not named UNLV, they've won. So they're 9-0 in their last 9 games in Las Vegas against anyone but UNLV, and they're 0-6 the last 6 times they played UNLV in Las Vegas. So UNLV has their number. UNLV certainly has, in the Pitino era and dating back really to the Paul Weir era, UNLV has the Lobos number. Now, some of those were really bad Lobo teams, of course, but some of them were pretty good Lobo teams, too. They went to the NCAA tournament last year. They were rebuilding with Mash and House for a while and still losing when they came here. So today I'm looking at right now, it has fluctuated. I think it opened at 4.5. I saw it down to as low as 2.5 at one point. As of right now, it appears as though the Lobos are favored by 3.5 points today in the Thomas and Mack. I will be posting my stone cold lead pipe lock grammar guesses, which will lose you a lot of money if you follow. But if you follow my daughter's coin flip picks, she is a insanely good 29-16 against the spread right now by flipping a damn coin. Drives me crazy. But let's get to some of your questions here now. All right, DJ, what's up, man? Yes, nice attention, nice national attention. Be rooting for our Lobos for more. Yeah, it is good for the Lobos and for the Mountain West, frankly, to get these games on Fox and on CBS Sports. And frankly, it's good to have one of these games on network television that isn't San Diego State. Very deserving of all the attention they get. They aren't as good as they normally are this year. And so if you want to highlight the Mountain West, maybe don't put San Diego State on all the network broadcasts in a year that they're down. But I get it, too. Like, if you're a network, why wouldn't you pick? Because they pick the games that they get, right? So why wouldn't you pick San Diego State? Well, this year they're just not what they were. JJ, what's up? Let's go Bows, he says. This is going to be a great game showcasing the top 2 guards in the Mountain West. Yeah, the DJ Thomas, Donovan Dent matchups, it's the easy headliner, and it should be. 2 great point guards that do lead their teams, right? And the kind of season Donovan's having is player of the year-esque, leading the Mountain West right now in assists and points. Only one player has ever done that in Mountain West history. He's also in the top 10 in blocks and steals. When you're doing it at both ends and you're a 6'2" point guard in the top 10 in blocks, like you're having a pretty special season, and Donovan has had that. He's had 30-point games, 40-point game against VCU. He's done it against really good competition as well. He was a leading scorer against San Diego State, Boise State. He's doing it against everybody. He's at 220, 20-point, 9 assists, 0 turnover games. He's doing some pretty special stuff, and still needs one thing that's missing, and that's the outside shot. Some consistency on that outside shot is what Donovan Dent needs. But as far as getting in the paint and finishing, as far as creating for his teammates, and as far as defending, he has been just kind of really next level good. I'm telling you, he's still over a month left in the season, but he is, however you want to say, in at this point in January, at this point in the season, he's built to this point what could be one of the real special Lobo seasons, at least in Mountain West history. As I sit next to the radio broadcast crew and Hunter Green is 2 spots over. I don't want to say it's an all-time type season just yet. But in Mountain West era, Donovan Dent is certainly, to this point, doing what very few Lobos have done, and good for him. There are certainly there's a lot of argument to be had, a lot of discussion to be had about how Donovan's season may rank all time, but I'm telling you, he's doing some pretty special things, and it's going to be fun to watch him and Deion Thomas. DJ's a guy that I think as Donovan said, he likes playing. He likes when that matchup's there, right? It brings the best out of him. I do think you'll see a lot of True Washington guarding DJ, though. True Washington's sort of been the guy the Lobos have put on whoever they want to slow down. Not necessarily the best player all the time, although in DJ's case, he is their best player. But True's been getting that assignment, and they want to slow down Boise State. They put him on Alvaro Cardenas, and he has 7 turnover a game, more turnovers than any Mountain West players had in a game this season. And he's the guy that Leon Rice says is the best point guard he's ever coached. So if Alvaro Cardenas is turning it over 7 times because True Washington's defending him, True's in a pretty special place lately too in his defense. I think he started the year very good. He had about a month where he was a little bit in a funk, both offensively and frankly defensively. But he's back to one of the best defenders in the league when he wants to be, and very tenacious. And I do think True will probably get the assignment on DJ a lot tonight to try and slow DJ Thomas down. But there'll be plenty of opportunity for Donovan to guard him as well. And certainly on the other end of the court, I imagine there will be a lot of switching that UNLV will do on the high pick and roll that the Lobos do. So while it may start with DJ guarding Donnie, I think UNLV is probably going to switch. I believe they're switching 1 through 4 pretty much. I know Bear Cherry's not going to be out there defending Donovan Dent very much, but I think 1 through 4, UNLV will probably switch that high ball screen action that the Lobos do, and we shall see how that affects them, because Donnie has been tremendous at the point on the pick and roll this year, and frankly, not only is he a very good point guard on the pick and roll, Nelly Jr. Joseph is the ideal center on the pick and roll. It doesn't get called from any screen, any violations, offensive fouls where he bumps the hip out. His feet are very good. It's a great combination for the pick and roll that the Lobos have in those two, and so far it's been working really well. John Romero on YouTube is telling us, Lobo Nation has an appetite this afternoon for a victory over the Runnin Rebels. Time to unleash our firepower and high horsepower capability. That's what the Lobos have done, right? Other than the San Jose State game, if you look at their past 5-6 games, they've played at really high energy, and they've really done it with defense first. And frankly, against San Jose State, they didn't play bad. San Jose State just played a little better than them 1 by 1, right? And San Jose State's a team that went to the last second shot against Boise State. They were in a 1-possession game in the final minute against first-place Utah State. San Jose State's done that against some teams, but the Lobos obviously no excuse for losing that game, but it isn't as though San Jose State hasn't been knocking on the door. And if you take that one game out of the equation, the Lobos' defensive dominance in the past month has been great. They are the best defensive team in the past month. If you go to barttorvik.com and kind of, you can set it up for conference only. While overall this season, San Diego State's a top 10 ranked defensive efficiency team. If you go to conference play only, the Lobos are actually playing better defense than San Diego State in conference play. And I think that would surprise a lot of people to hear, because that isn't what their calling card is. And it is what San Diego State's calling card. But that is how good they've been playing defensively, is in the past month, they are actually ranked higher than San Diego State defensively in terms of defensive efficiency. So pretty impressive there. And what they've done really well with is they're not just stopping teams. They're not just ending possessions by making sure they rebound well or blocking shots or steals or whatever. They are turning that into, as they're shooting for, ideally they want to score in the first 6 seconds of a possession, the Lobos do. And they've been doing that a lot. They've been turning those rebounds and blocks and steals and all that good stuff into fast break points and scoring within the first 6 seconds of a possession. If you go to kenpom.com right now, you go to conference only, defensive efficiency right now, San Diego State is ranked 1, 91.2. New Mexico is ranked 2 at 93.0. And then a pretty big 5.5 point drop in defensive efficiency to the third place team, which is Colorado State. If you go to Bart Torvik, I don't know what the difference is are between Bart Torvik and Ken Palm, but Bart Torvik, I believe, had New Mexico is slightly above San Diego State. Regardless, the fact that they're even that close is pretty impressive, considering San Diego State is still top 10 overall this season nationally in defense. But if you want to look at the season ranks right now in defensive rating on KenPalm.com, you are looking at San Diego State, who has dipped out of that top 10. They're at 12 right now. New Mexico's number 2 at 35, and then there's a big drop off. Colorado State's the third best defensive team in the conference, and they're ranked 62nd nationally. So this is a team right now in the Lobos that is defense first. It is not offense first, and their defense turns into some high power offense, and they do lead the league in scoring, but that's primarily a byproduct of a very high possession count and very high tempo that they run. They are 8th in tempo right now in the country out of 364 Division I teams. They rank 8th in tempo. So obviously the higher possessions help a little bit with that scoring average in points per game. But yeah, their offensive efficiency is down at 91. If you want to make a run at a Mountain West title and certainly be considered as an at-large team, you're probably going to need a better offense than 91. And I don't think that many Lobo fans realize that if the Lobos want to hit their potential, they better get better offensively because, frankly, they lead the league in points scored. So I think people just chop that up to mean, oh, their offense is fine. Well, they need to get better offensively. Defensively, right now, what they're doing is amazing. Philip Orvishinen's a big part of that. 6'9" wing. Last year, starting a 6'2" guard and Jamal Mashburn Jr. at the 3, and the defense was what it was. It was a Jalen House-led defense that, as Jalen went, the Lobos went. Now you got a 6'9" wing starting at the 3 as opposed to a 6'2" guard who wasn't a good defender in his own right. And I think Philip Orvishinen has been the key for the Lobos in the last month or so as they've been playing really, really good. Nelly Jr. Joseph obviously is a very good defender and a good defensive 5. His matchup today with Bear Cherry is going to be fun to watch. And Bear Cherry is one of the few 5s. There's not a whole lot of 5s in the Mountain West, like true 5s. There's a lot of power forward playing 5. And maybe you could say that's what Nelly is, but he plays back to the basket, doesn't shoot a lot of threes, and even Bear Cherry hasn't even attempted a 3. So obviously that's something that is going to be fun to watch tonight as the centers go at it. This is a kind of a pack. I don't want to say a pack line defense because they push everything to the sides, but UNLV does not let you defensively score a whole lot at the rim, and that's where the Lobos want to score, right? That's where they want to score 2s. They aren't a good outside shooting team. I would say other than Braden Applehans, they don't have a 3-point shooter. They have some guys that can hit 3-point shots, but none I would call 3-point shooters. It's going to be interesting because UNLV will take away what the Lobos do best, and that's score at the rim. Now, they do that in the half court. The Lobos don't want to play half court offense anyway. They want to get out and run. So if it's a game that plays half court offense versus half court defense, UNLV is going to really make things difficult on the Lobos. If the Lobos are able to turn that defense into offense and they are able to get out and transition and score in the first 6 seconds as their goal is and do things before UNLV sets up their defense, that's where things really shine for the Lobos or have in the past month. JJ on X is telling, defensively, he's stepping up. Excuse me, big league. Donovan's been playing very good defensively. So is really everybody on the Lobos. Certainly starting 5 have been playing very good defensively. Michael Ortiz, 707. Will Pitino pull Alfred move? You're going to have to tell me what that means. I assume you're talking about Steve Alford. I don't know what you mean by an Alfred move. Will he leave at the end of the season? Is that what you mean? Yeah, you let me know before I try and answer you. Why don't you let me know what you mean by will he pull an Alfred? Because I don't know what that means. Paul Richter, is there much of a crowd expected there today? No, I don't know what they're expecting today, but there hasn't been a huge crowd much of the season. Dan Mullen's talking in the first half, new football coach, so there's excitement there. It is a national broadcast, middle of the day, so maybe the crowd will be a little bit better than usual. I don't know, but yeah, the crowd here has not been really great for a while. JJ saying, yes, all these fans have been literally going crazy saying that he's already gone and we're not even done with the season. If that's what the Alfred question on Alfred is, do I think Pitino's going to leave? Like, man, probably. Like, they're having a good year. If they make the NCAA tournament again, he's probably going to make a lot of money to go coach somewhere. And he's been pretty open and pretty honest that he's not going to be here forever. So, yeah, if you're asking me if that's the question, yeah, probably. So better enjoy it, right? I mean, put 4 years in here and put in 2 NCAA tournaments after a decade of the Lobos not being in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. Now, if they don't get to the NCAA tournament, I don't know how bright that star shines, and I don't know how coveted he's going to be. But, we'll see. It is something I've talked with Fernando Lovo, the athletic director at UNM, about, and there are already discussions sort of being had, preliminary discussions, as there should be at every school, about what UNM can do to try and keep Pitino here. Look, Pitino likes it here. He's fine. He thinks the fan base legitimately is genuine and sincere when he says he thinks it's top 10 fan base in the country in the Lobos. You're not going to get that a whole lot of places. He's also a realist in that the league is about to take a drop off when the Pac-12 and Mountain West separate. The Mountain West is not going to be what it was last year as a 6-bid league. It is not going to be a 4-bid league very often. It just got a lot tougher to make the NCAA tournament and have your computer rankings really high when this happens in 2 years in the Mountain West. It is also right now a situation where UNM has to step up some investment right now. People sort of look at the pit and assume UNM is spending more on basketball than a lot of teams. It is not. He and his staff need to be probably paid better. That they're not in the top 2 or 3 pay-wise, and even in the Mountain West. So, yeah, do I think Pitino may leave? Yeah, if they have a good year, he's probably going to leave. So, Jack will kick his ass if he leaves. Jack is all about being a part of the program wherever he is. He's a basketball junkie, and Jack would be more than happy to just be a ball boy anywhere and be a part of whatever program his dad is coaching at. Not to say he doesn't love the Lobos. He absolutely does. And not to say Pitino doesn't really enjoy coaching the Lobos. He absolutely does. But there is an investment commitment that UNM has not yet made that maybe it needs to. So I just realized the power is not on my computer. It's okay for now, but I sure hope that comes on here pretty soon. I don't know if the power strip got turned off or what happened, but we shall see. So anyway, there we go. Where are we at? Noah is asking, Noah Callahan, what the next big step offensively for the Lobos? The next big step offensively for the Lobos, I would say, is get back to what they were doing a little earlier in the season when they were playing a lot more efficient offensive basketball. But yeah, there's one flaw of this Lobo team, if more than any in my mind, is their outside shooting. They don't have three-point shooters. They are not stretching defenses. Defenses are able to pack the lane, which takes away Donovan Dent's strength. If you take away Donnie's strength of being able to get in the lane and create by just packing in a defense all the time, it's going to cost you, and it has in the past month. You've seen in half court, Lobo's offense has struggled. I said that earlier in the year about the half court, and I'm gonna hold him to this because I have it on tape. I have it on video. I said the half court offense was not very good, and Pitino said to me a couple times, "We scored 80 points. What do you want?" Or "We scored 90 points. What do you want?" And I said, "Well, the half court offense didn't look that good to me." He said this week, "Our half court offense has not been very good." So I got one right. Don't know how to pick games very well, but I got one right on the Lobos, and it is that their weakness is their half-court offense. If they're not scoring in transition, they are not as good offensively. So there you go. Their next step offensively is they need three-point shooters to stretch out the defense, create more space so they can get in the lane, and that's where they do their damage. And without those three-point shooters expanding defenses and stretching out defenses, I just think their half-court offense is really going to struggle the rest of the year. Steve says, "Stop worrying about coach leaving and enjoy the ride." That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm going to be here anyway, right? I think most of you are going to be here anyway. Who cares who the coach is? If they're playing well, enjoy the Lobo basketball. I know a lot of Lobo basketball fans. I don't know anybody who says I'm a Pitino fan first and foremost, and and I'm not going to follow the team if he's not the coach. I never heard anyone say that really about Steve Alford either until he left, and people were like, oh, my gosh, we're doomed forever. Well, it turned out to be pretty true for a decade. But the Lobos are a team that needs to invest a lot more if they want to keep guys like a Pitino, like a Steve Alford. And frankly, this is all hypothetical crap, right? Like I usually don't, and I just kind of maybe took the bait a little bit more than I should, but I usually don't play the hypothetical game in the middle of the season, talk about, oh, is this player going to be here next year or not? Is this coach going to be here or not? I don't know, man. I'm not any of their agents. So I do know that Steve or Richard Pitino's coveted, and he will get offers. So what else we got here? Chris, what's up, man? Is it me or do Lobos and many teams neglect to rebound off of three lobs? Yes. Like if they shoot 30% from three, why not get a second chance shot? Okay, so this is something I talked to Pitino about earlier this week. I think because the Lobos, frankly, run so much and teams are so insistent on taking away that high tempo that teams aren't running because they want to slow the game down. So as such, the Lobos then can just pretty much forget about getting everybody back on defense, and they can send everybody to the offensive boards because teams don't want to run against the Lobos. They don't want a fast-paced game. So the Lobos have been able to benefit and really get a lot better and have some pretty strong games offensively in terms of the offensive boards. Move this over here. And Pitino basically said that. He said, if we get burnt a couple times, he said, I don't care. But for the most part, my philosophy is because teams are so insistent on slowing it down against the Lobos that the Lobos don't even have to get back on defense if they don't want, because nobody's running on them because they know the Lobos are going to run every single possession. So to slow the game down, you don't want to run against the Lobos. As a result, the Lobos have been really good offensively in terms of offensive rebounds some games. Not every game. They should be better, but lately they've actually been pretty good on offensive rebounds. 10 minutes from picks. I will tell you right now, the real fake Elton Musk, did the coin go UNM or Vegas? I can give you a little sneak preview on the Grammer's guesses and my daughter's coin flip picks. I am taking UNM at 3.5, win by 3.5. The coin took UNLV plus 3.5. So there you go. There's your coin pick if you guys want to go make some money. Never entered the portal, Jeff. There's no audience for Geoff Grammer, or there's nobody in the portal looking for Geoff Grammer. The Pit Press. Hey, Jeff, how much does Lobo defensive aggressiveness and length factor into the way UNLV wants to play? Slower pace, Thomas, ISO, etc. Look, I would say the Lobos' defensive aggressiveness, you would think, creates opportunities for make them pay, right? When Jalen House was at his best, taking all those risks defensively, teams would make him pay by when he was out there on the perimeter and being really aggressive, kind of like the Lobos in general do now. But when he was really aggressive, they'd blow right by him, get in the lane and score. And a guy like Deion Thomas would really, once he gets by that first defender, create problems. I haven't seen teams do that much this year, and I don't entirely know why, but I think it's primarily because the Lobos overall are just a much better team defensive unit than they've been in Pitino's 4 years. I mean, obviously, for 3 years, he had Mashburn and House, and they could create their own shot. These Lobos need some of that. There's some give and take, but they were 6 foot and 6'2". And last year they started 6 foot point guard, 6'2 guard, 6'2 guard. So their three guards were 6'0", 6'2", 6'2". Now their three guards are 6'2", 6'4", 6'9". It is a much better team, and size alone makes their defense so much better. That said, I think that it allows them to be aggressive on defense and get away with it a little more. When Jalen House was aggressive on defense, he didn't have anybody behind him helping him quite as much, certainly not with the size. But someone blows by Jalen House taking a risk on the perimeter defensively. Jamal Mashburn Jr. wasn't stepping up to make up for it and be the eraser. The Lobos have a few more of those now. Coin don't lie. You're telling me. Steve, how you doing, man? Speaking of Steve, let me remind people right now that if you want to look at just Mountain West play or just the past month, Colorado State's not just been kind of a nice little story kind of hanging around. Like, they've actually, numbers-wise, they've been tremendous. Like, they're really good. So Colorado State, watch out. Maybe it's a good thing that the Lobos got him early because the way Colorado State's playing right now, Colorado State's playing really well right now. Yeah, nice work on the – yes, thank you, Paul. Nice work on the flex cam, the Boise game, by the way. I appreciate that. Oh, look, I'm getting spam call. All right, Charles, what do you think the crowd will be like today? I don't know, a few thousand. That's my guess, a few thousand. Probably be announced to 5 or 6 and actual 3 or 4. What's your go-to food spot while in Vegas? A lot of my Vegas trips are one-nighters, and that doesn't exactly lend itself to finding a very good go-to food spot. I am sitting next to the food connoisseur of Las Vegas media. What's the best food place, Mike? Who do you tell? If you tell anybody coming to Vegas food, and I'm sure you get asked a lot, where's the go-to food place for you? Is there one?
There are a couple of restaurants that I like. Il Chianti in Henderson is an Italian restaurant that I like.
Say it again.
Il Chianti.
Il Chianti in Henderson, Italian restaurant. And look, if you get what I like about asking somebody from here is if they tell you it's places on the strip. There's great restaurants and casinos and on the strip, sure. But like I like the fact that his first answer was something in Henderson. It's not what us tourists and us out-of-towners always go to. So I like that. That said, I don't actually go to a whole lot of restaurants when I'm here in Vegas because I'm usually on one-night stays. So, but there you go. I'll take that. Weather's fine. I mean, for Vegas, I guess it's cold. What is it out there? 50 in the 50s right now, probably. It's not as cold as back in Albuquerque right now. It's not as cold as Laramie a couple weeks ago. I'll tell you that. JJ's got a long one here. Not to get back to coach, but remember, Lobo fans, our athletic department stepped up huge when it was time to pay Alford and made him the highest paid coach in the Mountain West Conference at the time. So, yes, Geoff is absolutely right. There's a chance he will leave at the end of the year. I know it's hard to hear, but always remember we have paid before, well, at least tried, and I believe the new AD will do everything he can to keep coach here. I believe we will step up and make the commitment. I can guarantee with 100% certainty that if push comes to shove and Pitino needs a new offer at the end of this year, there is a lot more money available. He wants a commitment to the program that includes paying assistant coaches. He wants a commitment to the program that includes, pay for him. Obviously, he does. Look, I get we can get into the whole. That's plenty of money. Why does he need more? Especially in New Mexico. That's fine. Look, he has 3 kids. He is 42 years old. He should be making as much as the market will pay him, just like anybody else on the top of their game right now. He should be making, what he can, right? He has already turned down more money twice. So he has shown he likes UNM. He has shown he would stay at UNM for even less money than he's been offered again twice. But the jump he could make financially this offseason, if things keep going well, is going to be probably significant. We're not talking getting paid $1 million a year to $1.5 million. We're not even talking $1 million to $2 million. He might get a jump well over $2 million a year annually. And if that's the case, that's going to be really hard for UNM to match. But UNM does have some money. I think it can put together and match something. Charles, yes, please keep Coach P. That is the consensus, I think, right? So, all right, guys, we are 30 minutes from tip time. I'm about to sign off, and to my right here, not that you guys can see, but take my word for it, to my right is the great Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green. They're about to be on the call at 770 KKOB. You can listen to their pregame show and follow along. ABQjournal.com is where I'll have all my coverage and here on X as well. So thank you guys for your questions and comments. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for reading. And until next time, thanks, guys. 30 minutes till tip-off.